So we've some really sad news today. And unfortunately, I lost them all. Now, if you've been watching this channel, you know we keep chickens. And you also know we have foxes. We've had no issues with any foxes attacking chickens or trying to get into the coop at all. I always check daily for the perimeter to see if there's any fresh digging or anything like that, and there just hasn't been. You'll also be aware that if you live in the UK of late, we've had a lot of stormy, windy weather. And unfortunately, without me knowing, because I wasn't able to see, some of the roof actually came loose. Now this gave the perfect opportunity for the local fox to be able to get in. Now, I'm not going to show you the chickens because it really is horrendous what foxes will do to chickens. And yes, it is their nature, but it's still absolutely heartbreaking. Now, I am really, really disappointed, but at the same time, I'm equally just as frustrated with myself for not noticing the one loose roof sheet. I've become quite attached to those chickens. But unfortunately, in nature, there's always a food chain. It's really not a nice thing to be able to walk in. As I came down to the plot this morning, I noticed that there was a lot of digging in the beds from foxes, which again is not unusual in itself. And then as I got closer to the run to check on the girls, they didn't jump up onto the rods to actually say hello and start singing. And then I noticed there was loads of digging around the outside of the chicken coop. None of those holes though made it inside to the chicken coop because I've actually buried mesh underneath the ground. So this actually did stop the fox itself. But it actually just made its way onto the roof and pushed its way through that loose panel and killed all of them. Most of them out of the four, all of them had their heads taken off, and only one was actually 2/3 eaten. Now, in general, foxes will come back and take those chickens, but sometimes it's that kill mode that they get, that they go frantic. There's loads of prey running around, panicking, and they just go around and they will kill everything. It really has upset me. Now, I was in the middle of actually extending the chicken coop and trying to make a new coop and to extend that area. That was always going to be our plan. Unfortunately, the fox just beat us to it. So, will I give up on chickens? No, I'm not going to give up on chickens. It was an undersight on my behalf, and unfortunately those chickens paid for that. Now, if you've ever kept chickens, or you know people that keep chickens or anything else, this kind of thing does happen. It is what nature's about, but it's up to us to protect our girls as much as possible. Now, my husband's been away for a little while, and I managed to catch him on the phone today, and he's just as gutted as me. But we're still going to move forward with chickens. But what we're going to do is build a much stronger roofed and stronger structure for our chickens itself. A stronger coop and better, bigger places for those chickens to have for next year. Now, when I say for those chickens, obviously it's not the chickens that have passed, but we are going to get some more. And years ago, we used to hatch our chickens. But the only downside to that is when you hatch the males, we can't keep cockerels on this allotment. They're just far too noisy in general. So I think we're going to get some high-line chicks where we can actually see that they're female, or hatch some eggs. But again, that runs the risk of you having to unfortunately dispatch those males or actually already have a home for those males to go. So I'll have to have a think about what I'm going to do for next year. All I know is that we're going to be building a much stronger coop. And now I know how much the foxes are going to be climbing. I want to make sure that we've got a really strong roof on there as well, something that they're actually not going to be able to push through and get in. Now, all the perimeter actually did work. The pallets and the netting, the wire mesh and the digging in, all that has actually helped. But it was the roof that was the weakness for the fox. Absolutely gutting. I hate to see anything like that. It's really not nice, but it's also very nature. I won't say that chickens were pets. Well, they probably were, and that makes it a little bit harder. But it really does happen. It's a really big issue if you keep chickens, be it in the UK, Europe, America, wherever. This kind of thing does happen. There's lots of predators out there that just love a good meal of chicken. I think next year we'll look into seeing if we can put a small electric fence around the perimeter as well. This may actually deter them a little bit more. So that's my little bit of sad news for today. But we have to move on. And I'll start prepping. We'll start thinking about how we're going to protect our girls, or our new girls, for next year. But it is unfortunately the way that it sometimes happens. And I really will miss our girls.